knew something was wrong before anyone said a word. The air felt heavier when I left my apartment that morning. The sun was out, but it was that washed-out gray that makes everything look fake. My coffee tasted like metal. My neighbor's dog, usually barking at everything that moved, was dead silent. I'm Jason, 26, single, living on the second floor of an old brick building in a suburb that's never seen anything crazy. People here leave their Christmas lights up too long, wave when you walk by, and complain about gas prices. This place is boring, and I used to like that. My job is tech support, mostly remote now, which means I hear people's problems all day. My roommate, Kevin, is the opposite of me, loud, restless, always in trouble with someone. He was still asleep when I left. On the way to the corner store, I noticed a military van parked down the block. It looked out of place, half on the curb, no one inside. I thought maybe they were helping with the storms that knocked out the power last week. But then I saw a trail of blood on the sidewalk. It was small, almost like someone cut their hand and dripped as they walked. Still, it was blood, and blood shouldn't be there. At the store, people looked on edge. A woman coughed in the cereal aisle and everyone turned to stare at her like she was a bomb. The cashier was wearing gloves and wouldn't touch my money. I paid by card, trying to act normal, but my heart was pounding. The TV behind the counter was stuck on the news, something about new safe zones being set up, but the anchor looked scared. He kept glancing off screen, like someone was waving at him to wrap it up. Someone called out something at someone who was waving at him to wrap it up. Walking home, I texted my mom. She's the kind of person who always says, "Don't worry, it'll blow over." No answer. My group chat with Kevin and my friend Mike was full of memes about the apocalypse, but suddenly, no one was typing. The signal bars on my phone started dropping, then popping back up. I tried calling, but it just rang and rang. A siren sounded in the distance, long and low, then stopped. Back at the apartment, Kevin was finally up, sitting in front of the TV with a blanket around his shoulders. He looked pale, sweating, flipping through news channels. Everything was chaos. One channel said the military was locking down the city. Another said it was just a drill. A breaking news banner flashed, "Safe zones compromised. Stay inside." But then the screen glitched and it was gone. I opened the window to get some air. I could hear shouting somewhere a few blocks away, and the weird thing was, it wasn't angry shouting. It was panicked, like a crowd was running from something. I checked my phone again. Now all my texts said, "Failed to send." My mom's contact was just a spinning circle. I looked at Kevin, and for the first time ever, he looked like he wanted me to say something reassuring. I couldn't. Our neighbor, Mrs. Dawes, started banging on our door. She's 80-something, always smells like lavender. She was crying, begging for help. Said her husband wouldn't wake up, and she didn't know what to do. Kevin and I followed her across the hall. Her apartment was dark, and her husband was lying on the floor, not moving. He was breathing, barely, but his eyes were open and glassy, like he was looking right through us. Kevin wanted to call 911, but the line was dead. I tried the emergency number. Nothing. Mrs. Dawes kept crying, "What do we do? What do we do?" I knelt by her husband, but something about the way he was breathing, ragged, almost growling, made my skin crawl. Kevin pulled me back, whispering, "Let's go. Something's not right." We got out of there. I locked our door, shoved a chair under the handle, and closed all the windows. Kevin kept pacing, muttering that it was just a gas leak or something. I didn't believe it. I started looking for anything we could use to block the door, wishing I'd bought that baseball bat I always joked about getting. Kevin finally stopped moving and just stared at me. He asked, "Do you think this is it? Like, really it?" I didn't answer. I just kept shoving stuff against the door, feeling stupid, but also terrified that I wasn't overreacting at all. The TV kept flickering. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it just spat out static. More sirens. more shouting outside. Then we heard it, a scream, loud and sharp, way too close. Kevin and I froze. It sounded like it came from the lobby. And that's when it finally hit me. The safe zones were never real. They were just lines on a map, places to make us feel better. But right now, we were on our own, and nobody was coming to save us. The scream from the lobby was like a gunshot, clean, sharp, final. Kevin and I just looked at each other, and I think in that moment he was hoping I'd be the one to run out and check. I shook my head. No way. I've never been a hero, and whatever was happening, it wasn't something I could fix by being brave. But I had to see. Not for Mrs. Dawes, not for Kevin, just for myself, to know I wasn't losing it. I crept down the hall, Kevin behind me, clutching an umbrella like it was a sword. The lights were flickering overhead, and it smelled like burned plastic and sweat. The door to the stairwell was propped open. I looked down and saw the blood first. Bright red, shining in the dirty light. It trailed from the lobby up the stairs, thickening as it went. There was a shoe, just one, right in the middle of the landing. It was a kid's shoe, sparkly blue, untied. We stood at the top, listening. More screams, but they sounded wrong, warped, desperate, echoing up from below. I peeked over the rail and saw someone crawling up the steps, face bloody, dragging their leg behind them. Kevin whispered, "Dude, no, let's go back." But I couldn't. I had to see if it was real. The crawling man looked up, his eyes milky and wild, mouth open too wide. He made a sound I've never heard a human make, like a hungry animal, and reached for the rail. Behind him, another shape stumbled up, then another. That was all I needed. I slammed the stairwell door, threw the lock, and shoved a bookcase in front of it. Kevin was already on the phone again, just mashing the numbers, swearing. I wanted to scream at him to shut up, but I was too busy shaking. Kevin was busy shaking just like him. I went to the window, hoping to see police, ambulances, something, but there was nothing except smoke curling from the gas station across the street and people running. Really running, not jogging, not hurrying for the bus, but running like their lives depended on it. My phone buzzed. One message, just one, from Mike. "Get out. Not safe. They are inside." Then nothing. I tried to call, but it was dead. Kevin started yelling at me. "What do we do now, man? Do we run? Do we hide?" I said, "We wait. We lock every door and window. We turn off the lights, and we hope." The apartment felt smaller and smaller. I started to think about my mom again. She lived 15 minutes away, but it might as well have been 1,000 miles. I kept picturing her in her kitchen, drinking her terrible instant coffee, waiting for a call from me that was never going to come. I sent her one last text. "I love you. Stay inside. Don't open the door." I didn't know if it went through. We tried to block out the sounds, but it's impossible. People banging on doors, begging to be let in. Sometimes they sounded normal, scared, like us. Other times their voices changed, raspy, broken, hungry. The worst was when you heard the same voice start normal and end in that inhuman growl. I went to check on Mrs. Dawes. I wish I hadn't. Her door was open and her husband was gone. The room was trashed, broken glass everywhere, but no sign of her, just a bloody handprint on the bathroom door. I closed it and walked away, wishing I was the kind of person who could help, but I'm not. Not today. By the time the sun started to go down, the power flickered out for good. No more TV, no more news, no more pretending that someone out there was going to fix this. Kevin found an old flashlight and some baseball bats we'd kept for self-defense but never thought we'd actually use. He wanted to make a run for the car, but I said no. There was nothing safe out there anymore. The safe zones were a lie, and the real world was closing in on us. One scream at a time. It got quiet after dark, too quiet. That's when I knew it was real, and nobody Nobody was ready. We spent the night sitting in the dark, listening to every creak and groan of the building. Kevin kept whispering, "You awake?" like a little kid. I barely answered. My mind was spinning. What if my mom was already gone? What if there was no way out? The hours felt like days. We dozed in shifts, baseball bats in our hands. Somewhere around 3 in the morning, the screams stopped. There was just nothing. No cars, no sirens, not even birds. It felt like the world had ended, and we were the last two idiots who hadn't gotten the memo. We tried to keep busy, checking every lock, moving the couch against the door, looking for anything sharp we could use as a weapon. Kevin wanted to check on his sister Gina. She lived downtown, near one of those so-called safe zones. He kept saying I should have called her. I should have gotten her out of there. But he hadn't, and now it was too late. All the roads to downtown were blocked. The news said so before the news went dark. By morning, hunger kicked in. We raided our pantry, chewing stale cereal and peanut butter straight from the jar. I stared out the window, looking for movement. Nothing. For a moment, I let myself believe maybe it had all blown over, that everyone was hiding and soon there'd be rescue trucks rolling up. Then I saw Mike, the friend who'd sent me that last message, outside. He was walking slow, dragging one leg, his shirt soaked with blood. Kevin shouted, "Mike, up here!" before I could stop him. Mike looked up. His eyes were blank, mouth open, face twisted with something I can only describe as hunger. He wasn't Mike anymore. He moved toward our building, arms out, moving like his bones were too loose for his body. Kevin started sobbing. He'd never seen anything like that, and neither had I. I closed the blinds and told him not to look. That was the moment it changed. It wasn't just infection. It wasn't just some disease you could fight with a mask or a vaccine. This was something different. The rules of life, of death. They didn't matter anymore. If you got bit, scratched, whatever, you weren't you anymore. You were just gone. Mike had been my friend since high school. Now he was gone, and something else wore his skin. We tried to keep it together, but Kevin cracked first. He kept pacing, saying we had to get to Gina. I tried to stop him, but he shoved me, yelling that I didn't care about anyone but myself. That stung. He grabbed the bat and went for the door. I tried to hold him back, but he slammed my arm in the process. I had no choice. I let him go. I watched from the window as he disappeared down the street, swinging the bat at anything that moved. I never saw him again. The building was empty now. At least it felt that way. I dragged the couch back, checked every room, and just sat there. I don't know how long. Maybe hours, maybe days. Time stopped making sense. I thought about Mrs. Dawes, about my mom, about Mike. All of them gone. The world felt small, like it was closing in on me. When night came again, I heard banging downstairs. This time, I didn't get up. I knew whatever was coming wasn't looking for help. It was looking for something to eat. I held my breath until the sun came up, barely daring to move. By the next morning, the building was on fire. I still don't know how it started. Maybe someone desperate, maybe one of those things. Smoke poured through the halls. I grabbed my backpack, shoved in a flashlight, a knife, a can of beans, and my phone that hadn't worked in 2 days. I covered my mouth and ran, dodging the flames, stumbling over broken glass and bodies. Outside, the world was unrecognizable. Cars wrecked, houses empty, the street full of bodies that didn't stay down for long. I didn't look back. I just kept walking, not toward any place, just away from what was left behind. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's left. All I know is the safe zones are gone, the rules are gone, and so am I. Whoever I used to be, he didn't make it out of that building. The person walking out into the morning, bleeding, limping, hungry, was someone else. And somewhere out there the road keeps going. The only thing left to do is keep moving and hope that whatever's ahead is better than what's behind.